Morning. You're watching this. It's got to mean this. I couldn't have said it better myself. Where are you two today, Bo, you ask? Flip that camera around. Some of you will instantly notice this and recognise this and go, the guy's in Torquay, he's up at Corbyn Head. And that's right, I'm at Corbyn Head and I'm in Torquay. Why am I here today and where am I going to go? You asking. Well, last week I put it out there saying I was going to do something different. So what I did was, I currently, at time of recording, run a Facebook group and there's about 730 members of that group. So I put it out there and said, rather than being on my Jack Jones this week, I'm going to ask all of those 700 members how many of them would like to come along today and join me on a paddleboarding ride. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. These people, as many of them as they may be, may come along and meet me in a moment. We'll get all the boards pumped up. Mine's already pumped up. We'll get all the boards pumped up, many of them. Get down the beach. I'll give you the quick heads up then on how many of us have come along today and what the route is. Don't go anywhere. First of all, what's it like in Torquay for paddleboarding? Well, I'm at Corbyn Head. It's very mellow in here. It gets protected by just the lie of the land, really. It's really in the back of the bay, so it's well protected. There are a few underwater obstructions, reefs, chunks of rock, those sorts of things. So you've got to be a bit mindful of those. Other than that, there's not too much to worry about because no rivers here. Tides aren't really going to affect you too much at all because you're right in the deep hollow of the bay. Let's get down there. So here we are, folks, down at the beach. So we're down at Corbyn Head. Now in the distance, you probably can't see it on the camera, but the furthest bit of the headland there, that is London Bridge Arch. So we're going to head out that way and probably call him Beacon Cove or Torquay Cove. I've done this route before, so we're going to replicate it. So how many came down today to join me on this video from 733 people? One. I got Sam with me today, so we're going to get out across the bay. Let's do it. So here we are, folks. We're now out in the middle of the bay. We're heading towards London Bridge Arch. I got Sam out there on a red 10.6, which he's never rode before. Bought it this week or last week or whenever. Up there, them's the three ugly sisters I talk about. This here is the Princess Pier, which I've told you my mum and dad had their honeymoon there, so that's that. And there's the Princess Theatre in there. Saw Rob Gilbert there recently. So we're going to head back along here in a minute. But I think you will agree and be able to see it's perfect. So on we go towards London Bridge Arch. Here we are now out at, go from Coral Island or Living Coast, that's Beacon Cove in there. This in front of us, of course, is, say it out loud, folks, come on, you know it, it's the Imperial Hotel, isn't it? If you remember, there's those nooks and crannies I went in previously over there. Might have a look at those later. This here is called Torquay cove in there in the shadows. And then London Bridge Arch. Now London Bridge Arch, let's be honest, it looks like Tower Bridge, doesn't it? Everyone makes this mistake, don't they? That guy who bought Tower Bridge in 1967, 1968, took it to Arizona, thought he was buying, sorry, bought London Bridge, he thought he was buying Tower Bridge. That's right. And then he ended up with a bit of West Country story on that. When they actually took Tower Bridge to, sorry, London Bridge to pieces, I'm getting it mixed up, they actually had to go up to Merivale Quarry, I think, up by Tavistock to adjust the blocks to make them usable again. There you go, interesting fact. On we go. So here we are. Sam, what do you reckon to the trip then?
Absolutely fantastic. Well worth getting out of bed this morning, bright and early. The sun's shining, it's really warm, it's really flat. What's better than getting out in the sunshine in winter?
There you go, folks. What is better than getting out of bed this early to get here? And remember, folks, if you do get out early, I keep saying it, no wind, because the landmass hasn't warmed up, so you don't get that breeze blowing in, and it is and just the air generally, it's a lot more settled. I know you can get weather systems that will contradict that, but if there's not a massive weather system, morning is the time to go. Earlier the better. Plus you've got the whole day ahead of you. So we're going to head around there, around the arch, back in, stop over at the cove, have a look out and go from there. Right, we're at the actual arch now, folks. They'll just come into view at the moment. When you go through here, it is worth just going through on your knees, because it seems like the water's being pushed through there and there's a bit of a wave, and the one thing you don't want to do is fall off in there and fall sideways and hit your head or something on the rock. So just be careful when you're coming through. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Just be careful when you're going through there, which is what Sam and I are going to do now. We're going to go through there on our knees, because it's flat everywhere, but in here, out of nowhere, there's a little wave. It's crazy, see that? Of course, it's not really called Hangman's Hoe. It sits below this little, I suppose you'd call it a folly or a castle, whatever, up on top there, which looks really nice. Imagine that. Imagine that. That's available this week, folks, for £600 on Airbnb. And you can jump off the tree up there if you want. In here, there's a little cave, and there some lads have put like a rope swing in there, and it looked like a hangman's noose. So that's why I called it that. We're going to have a quick look. There is the noose at Hangman's Hoe, and there's a couple of pigeons sat at the very top up there. See if I can zoom in and show you them. Very difficult to hold this still. There's some pigeons up there. They got out of bed today, folks, even if you didn't. There's a little bit of swell in certain areas. It's almost like it must get channeled in, funneled in or something. I don't know. We're around the corner now. Big great black-backed gull on top of the rock there, absolutely stunning, and a herring gull up there with him. Right, these rocks over here, Daddy Ho Plain sort of sits up here, so this is a grassy park area at the top up here somewhere, and then in there there's a rock face, and in, if I can show you, in around about here, me and my mate, the geologist, we've climbed there, some E1 climbs if that means anything to you, and it is really dicey. But of course we had all the protection, all the ropes and all the rest of it. And then also along here, there's where the tide line is, there's a traverse, so you climb along the rock there from one place to another. You've got to go up at the end, it's a bit dodgy, but we did that as well. And if you fall, you just fall in the water. There's no ropes to protect you, because the ropes wouldn't work, would they, because you're going sideways. So that's what we did as well. So we came in there, and this would have been Struth 27 years ago, something like that. Yeah, that long. What were you doing 27 years ago, Sam?
I was born.
Sam was born 27 years ago. Were you rock climbing?
No, I wasn't rock climbing back then. I was about 2 or 3 years old.
About 2 or 3 years old, so Sam wasn't rock climbing then. Right, so, but I was, but I don't think I would do it now. Nah, I'll leave it now. Just sit on the paddleboard, that's easier. Right, further out here, massive container ship. That's been in the bay for, he was here last weekend, or was he out from Timber? No, I think he was out here last week. And then behind this little rock in front of me is Thatcher Rock. And Hope's Nose is there for, there's a guy, we can see him, you can't see him on the camera, but there's a guy fishing on a rock out from Hope's Nose. Or it might be out from Thatcher Point, one or the other. So there you go. So, and then Meadfoot is just in around the corner. That's where we're going to set off today, but we changed our plan. That's just in around there. So we've kind of come all this way. And we're going to turn around now, back through the arch, head back to Torquay. And then I've got a challenge which Sam's going to enjoy, where we're going to do the, I call it, I'm inventing this now, here we are. So let's just quickly, we're in Tor Peak Cove. I'll show you on the map, maybe, if you're lucky. Living coast there. Out there, white building is Grand Hotel. Slightly left of that, bit of rock, which is Corbyn Head. That's where we set off. Further around the next red cliff is Livermead Cliff Hotel. We can see it actually painted on the wall there, just to the right of that, so that's Livermead. In around that corner, and there's actually, I'll just try and zoom in, there's actually a cave in the middle of that rock, in the middle of that cliff there, which I've been through before. Around the other side of that, where you can see some stone, some white stone, that's Hollicombe. And then we go further left again, and finally then there's a new building built which is over sort of Preston side, and then you're working your way across Preston to a middle bit of rock in the middle, and then further left there's some white buildings which are temporary screenings over some big construction going on in Paynton. So that's the whole of the bay there. We are going to go in, we're basically going around the corner of the harbour wall, which is in line with the Grand Hotel, and we're going to do this little, I call it Pier Tunnel Challenge, which I made up a minute ago. It basically means we're following the stanchions of a pier, which you might have seen on one of my other videos. Click above. But we're going to go down through there because you get the sensation of being in a tunnel, and it's a real nice little challenge. If it's nice and still in there, of course, because it's a bit choppy all of a sudden. There's a bit more roll in the sea, but I think around there it'll be flat. folks. We're back, safe and sound. All is good. I'll tell you how far we went over there. I'll work that out later. All right.
Yeah, great paddle. Great to get back out. First time out on my own board that I bought second hand. Got out before the wind picked up. Still really lovely and flat. Perfect.
Different in here. It looks mellow here. But when you get out coming back in at the moment, the wind has picked up, but it was fine. Right, guys, tune in again. Some others will be joining me, hopefully next time. See you on the paddleboarding, smaddleboarding flip side.
See you later.
I couldn't have said it better myself.